At 3 in the morning, I was still in the company conference room revising an MA proposal. The light from the computer screen stabbed my eyes. This was the 7th revision already. Ethan Miller's message kept popping up on Slack. We need this for the 9 a.m. press conference tomorrow. Thanks for your hard work. I rubbed my temples and lifted my cold coffee. Then my phone buzzed with a financial news alert. Rising tech star Ethan Miller announces engagement to Lynn Capital heiress Vivian Lynn. My fingers froze midair. I tapped into the article in the high-resolution photo. Ethan was wearing the suit I had picked out for him last month, holding Vivian Lynn's hand. Behind them, on the backdrop, was the financing chart, the final version I had sent him yesterday. The article read, "Self-made tech entrepreneur joins forces with Capital Royalty. Lynn Capital injects $1.5 billion to accelerate Morningstar Tech's expansion." I stared at the screen. Our 10-year anniversary was next Friday. I had secretly booked tickets to Iceland, planning to surprise him, but according to the article, their engagement party was scheduled for that same Friday night. My phone vibrated again this time. The company Slack channel. Someone posted anonymously, "Some people really need to know their place. Did you really think you could marry up?" A string of laughing emojis followed. I took a deep breath and called Ethan. Busy tone again, still busy. But in the embedded interview video, Ethan was smiling calmly at the camera. Meeting Vivian made me realize what the right person really is. The coffee cup slipped from my hand, splashing brown liquid across the proposal documents. A thought struck me. I logged into the equity management system and typed in my name, shares held under a grant. 3 months ago, Ethan had told me, "Hold on to these shares for now. After we get married, I'll transfer everything to you." My hands trembled as I opened my banking app. At that moment, a message popped up from Ethan's mother. "Anna, you're a smart girl. Don't make a scene. Leave yourself some dignity." The conference room door suddenly opened. The cleaning lady peeked in. "Oh, Miss Grant, you're still here? I'm about to turn off the lights." Wait, click. One light went out, then another, then another. I sat alone in complete darkness. Except for the glow of the laptop screen, the engagement photo was still shining. Ethan was smiling gently. The same gentle smile he'd worn every time he looked at me for the past 10 years. I waited in the company parking lot until 5 in the morning. Ethan's black sedan finally appeared. He stepped out while still on the phone, his voice warm and familiar. "Yes, the ring has to be special. Vivian deserves the best." When he saw me, he paused. "I'll call you back, explain," I said. My voice didn't sound like my own. Ethan rubbed his forehead. "Anna, let's go upstairs and talk." "No. Here." He was silent for a few seconds, then suddenly smiled. "Fine, actually. Help me think, what kind of engagement ring would Vivian like? You're both women. You'd know." It felt like getting punched straight in the face. 10 years, I said. "Ethan, we've been together for 10 years, and?" He leaned against the car casually, like we were talking about the weather. "Anna, you've always been sensible. Now it's time to be sensible again." "Sensible? My wife needs to stand in the spotlight," he said calmly. "She needs family background, connections, social status." He ticked them off one by one. "And you? You grew up in an orphanage, average college degree, no parents, no family." He reached out to touch my face. I stepped back. "For 10 years, you lived off me," he continued, his voice turning cold. "I gave you your job, your friends came from my circle. Without me, you're nothing. What about all the nights I stayed up writing your proposals?" I shot back. "What about all the business dinners where I drank myself into the hospital for you?" "So I left you money." He handed me a card. $5 million. Enough for you to live comfortably. Take it. Leave with dignity." I stared at the card. I remembered senior year of college. His startup had failed. We lived in a damp basement, surviving on instant noodles. I worked 3 part-time jobs and slipped all the money into his bag. He'd said, "Anna, when I make it big, I'll give you the best life." "So this is the best life?" I asked. "Dump me and marry someone else?" Ethan lost his patience. "Vivian's father runs Lynn Capital. Without this investment, the company won't survive next year. What can you give me?" "Love. Love is useless." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "There are investors visiting this afternoon. If you dare show up at the company, or what? I'll publicly deny our relationship," he said slowly. "I'll say you've been obsessively harassing me." Headlights swept across the parking lot in his eyes. I saw my reflection, small, pale, like smoke about to disappear. "So the past 10 years meant nothing," I said quietly. Ethan shoved the card into my hand. Be smart, Anna. This is the best ending you're going to get." He turned and walked into the elevator before the doors closed. He looked back once. There was no guilt, no regret, only relief. 3 days later, my address was leaked. When I stepped outside that morning, the entire outer wall of my building had been sprayed in bright red letters, "Homewrecker." My neighbors watched through their peepholes. Even the delivery guy looked at me differently. When I arrived at the office, the HR director was already waiting. "Ms. Grant," she said, sliding a document across the table. "The company has received multiple complaints stating that your relationship with Mr. Miller has negatively impacted the company's reputation." "Complaints? From whom?" "Anonymous." She avoided my eyes. "And there are some videos circulating in the investment community. I suggest you take a look." She sent me a link, a secretly filmed video, a carefully chosen angle. It was from last week in the parking garage. Ethan and me talking. After editing, only one clip remained. Me grabbing his arm. Subtitles read, "A third party refusing to let go." The comments exploded. "Heard this woman's been stalking Ethan for years. Poor Vivian. Even her engagement isn't peaceful. How did someone like this even get hired? Slept her way in, probably." My hands went ice cold, scrolling down. I saw Vivian Lynn's public response. She reposted the video with a caption, "I trust Ethan to handle this. I won't argue with a mistress. Please don't cyberbully her." The comments praised her endlessly. "So classy. That's what a real Fiancé looks like." I stormed into Ethan's office. He was in a video conference. When he saw me, he frowned but didn't turn off the camera. "Ethan, clarify this." I slammed my phone onto his desk. He glanced at the screen and smiled at the camera. "Sorry, a private matter." He muted the call and turned to me. "Clarify what?" "I'm not a third party. When I was with you, Vivian didn't even exist in your life." "And?" Ethan leaned back. "Right now, everyone knows Vivian Lynn is my fiancé. If you jump out claiming we dated for 10 years, who's going to believe you?" He stood up, looking down at me. "They'll just think you're making things up for money." I was shaking with rage. "Anna," he softened his tone, using the voice he used to comfort me, "disappear for a while. Once things calm down, I'll arrange a job overseas for you. And if I don't," his smile faded, "your bank account can be frozen under emergency authorization. Your recommendation letters need my signature. Your reputation in this industry." He paused. "I control it." My phone buzzed again. Another message from his mother. This time, a photo, a check. $10 million. Caption, "Is this enough? Name your price." I looked at the check, at my distorted image in the video, at Ethan's cold eyes, and suddenly, I stopped shaking. "I don't want the money," I said, locking my phone. "I'll earn my own justice." I demanded an internal hearing. Ethan agreed. The conference room was filled with board members and executives. Vivian Lynn sat beside Ethan, wearing a tailored designer suit, smiling faintly at me. "Anna," the moderator asked, "you claim you and Mr. Miller were in a relationship for 10 years. Do you have proof?" I handed over photos. College campus selfies, instant noodles in a basement apartment, security footage, screenshots from the company's early startup days. Ethan didn't even look. "What does this prove?" he said calmly. "Anna was a junior student I sponsored. After graduation, she worked for me. I took care of her for years. It's understandable that she misunderstood." "Misunderstood?" I stared at him. "Last year on my birthday, you gave me a ring and said we'd marry after the IPO. That was an employee incentive ring." Ethan cut in smoothly. "All employees with over 5 years receive one." "Mr. Wang, you got one too, didn't you?" Mr. Wang nodded awkwardly. Vivian gently held Ethan's hand. "Ethan is just too kind," she said softly. "He treats everyone well, which leads some people to overthink." The room fell silent. No one spoke. I looked around. These were people I knew. I'd taken Mr. Zhang to the ER for a stomach bleed. I wrote the recommendation letter for Mr. Liu's son's overseas education. I found a divorce lawyer for Mr. Zhao. Now, every single one of them avoided my eyes. "Anna," Ethan concluded, "out of respect for your contributions, the company won't sue you for defamation, but effective immediately, you're terminated." He added lightly, "If you're willing to sign a confidentiality agreement and stop spreading rumors, the company will give you 3 months severance." "I want my shares." "What shares?" Ethan looked puzzled. "The equity registry has never listed your name." My fists clenched so tightly my nails dug into my palms. "That's enough." Vivian stood and walked over to me, lowering her voice. "You know my family's influence in the investment world. If you keep this up, you won't just lose this industry, you won't find work anywhere respectable. She patted my shoulder, voice syrupy sweet. Take the money, that's the smartest choice. 2 security guards entered. Ms. Grant, please. I was escorted out as I passed the open office area. Every colleague kept their head down, except one. An intern named Lily slipped a note into my hand. It read, Anna, I believe you. I clenched the note in my fist, the first kindness I'd received in 3 days, and the last. I spent 2 days lying in my rental apartment. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling. My phone kept lighting up with notifications. Breaking. Former Morningstar tech employee confirmed mentally unstable. Deep dive into Mistress Anna Grant's chaotic love life. Vivian Lynn appears at charity gala. Shuts down affair rumors. Every article tagged me. Every comment cursed me. On the 3rd morning, I finally got up and washed my face. The woman in the mirror looked frighteningly thin, but her eyes were bright to bright. I suddenly remembered something. Years ago, at the orphanage, the director once told me, Anna, remember this. Proving your innocence is a trap for the weak. Truly powerful people don't need to prove anything to anyone. Back then, I didn't understand. Now, I did. I opened my laptop and started doing 3 things. First, I recovered deleted work emails. I'd helped the tech team before. I knew where the backup loopholes were. Second, I organized 10 years of bank transfers, money I'd sent Ethan, money he'd sent me. Every transaction had notes. Third, I dialed a number I hadn't called in years. The phone rang 3 times. Grant family office. How may I assist you? This isn't a Grant, I said, pausing briefly. I'm looking for Daniel Grant. Silence. Please hold. 2 minutes later, a familiar voice came through. Amused, Anna? 10 years without contact. And now you remember you still have a brother? My nose burned. Daniel, I might need to come home. What happened? His tone turned serious instantly. We'll talk in person. After hanging up, I packed my bags, only the essentials, my laptop, external hard drives, an old tin box. Inside the box were my mother's final letter and a ring engraved with the Grant family crest. I'd always thought I'd never need it. My mother had cut ties with the family for love. After my father died, we drifted from place to place. Before she passed, she said, if you ever reach a dead end, go find your grandfather. His last name is Grant. I never wanted anything from the family that abandoned her, but now I understood something. Sometimes, dignity alone isn't enough. Sometimes, you need weapons. I was halfway through packing when the doorbell rang. It was Ethan. He stood outside, frowning slightly. Why aren't you answering your phone? You didn't cash the check either. What do you want? Vivian's father has a birthday banquet next month, he said flatly. You shouldn't stay in this city. He handed me a plane ticket. Go to Europe. First class, stay a few months. I'll cover everything. I stared at the ticket. Then I laughed. Ethan, I said, do you know what I've been best at for the past 10 years? He froze. I'm best at this, I said slowly, turning the tables right when you think you've already won. His face darkened. Don't force my hand, Anna. If the Lynn family decides to crush you, it'll be like stepping on an ant. Then let them try. I closed the door, locked it. Outside, his voice rose with anger. You'll regret this. I slid down against the door and sat on the floor. My phone lit up. A message from Daniel. Private jet arrives at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Welcome home, little sister. Ethan's retaliation came fast. The next morning, I received 5 rejection emails. All interviews that had been confirmed suddenly canceled due to position freezes. By noon, my bank called. Ms. Grant, your account shows abnormal activity and has been temporarily frozen. That afternoon, my landlord knocked. Sorry, I need the apartment back for my son's wedding. I'll refund the deposit. You'll need to move out within 3 days. I dragged my suitcase down the street. A push notification popped up. Morningstar Tech receives additional investment from Lynn Capital. Valuation surpasses $15 billion. The photo showed Ethan and Vivian, smiling brightly. Below it, a related article, profile of alleged Mistress Anna Grant raised in an orphanage. Possible psychological issues. A comment read, no wonder she's obsessive, broken family background. I sat on a park bench and opened the tin box. My mother's letter had yellowed with age. Anna, my biggest regret was giving up everything for love. My greatest pride was having you. If you ever go back, tell your grandfather. I never blamed him. I pressed the letter to my chest. Rain began to fall, heavier and heavier. Someone stopped in front of me, holding an umbrella. Vivian Lynn. She looked down at me, smiling. Pretty miserable, huh? I said nothing. I actually admire you. She crouched, tilting the umbrella toward me, having nothing and still daring to compete with me. I wasn't competing with you. Ethan was never yours. She tilted her head. Do you know how his eyes lit up the first time he saw my house? The pool? The lifestyle? She chuckled. That's the life he wants. What could you give him? Love? She laughed softly. Love is worthless in front of capital. Rain splashed onto her designer heels. She frowned and stood up. One last piece of advice, she said. Leave this city. Never come back. She pulled out a stack of cash and dropped it at my feet. This should cover your travel expenses. The bills soaked into the pavement. Anna, she said lightly, you're not even qualified to be my enemy. She turned and walked away. Her red heels splashed through dirty puddles. I looked at the money, at the rain, at the final message Ethan had sent me. Turn back now, and I'll leave you a way out. I typed slowly and replied, I make my own way. Then I blocked him. The rain stopped. A faint rainbow appeared on the horizon. I stood up, pulled my suitcase across the street. A black sedan was waiting. The door opened. Daniel Grant stepped out and opened his arms. I'm sorry I'm late, Anna. I walked straight into his embrace. And for the first time in 10 years, I cried. A week later, the Wall Street Journal ran a front-page headline. Hidden Financial Empire. Grant family announces heir's return. The photo showed Daniel and me standing inside the Grant family office in New York. I was wearing a tailored suit. On my hand was the ring my mother left me engraved with the Grant family crest. The article listed the Grant family's assets, controlling stakes in 3 multinational banks, investments spanning technology, energy, and real estate, estimated net worth $90 billion. Morningstar Tech's billion-dollar valuation appeared as a single, insignificant line beneath it. Back home, social media exploded. Anna Grant there shot straight to the top of trending searches. People dug up old articles where I'd been vilified. The comments section flipped overnight. So she was a billionaire heiress pretending to be ordinary? Ethan Miller really dropped a diamond to grab gravel. Vivian Lynn still had the nerve to call her a mistress? My inbox flooded. Interview requests, investment proposals, apology emails, and calls from Ethan. He called 37 times. I answered the 38th, Anna. His voice was shaking. Those reports, are they real? What do you think? I didn't know you were. You never told me. I did, I said calmly. Junior year, on my mom's Memorial Day, I was drunk and told you my grandfather's last name was Grant. You laughed. I continued. You said I was delusional, desperate to marry into money. Silence, Anna. Let's meet, please. I know I was wrong, Ethan. I interrupted. Do you know what I'm looking at right now? What? Morningstar Tech stock price. I glanced at the screen. It opened down 47%. Lynn Capital just announced a re-evaluation. 5 of your partners emailed to suspend cooperation half an hour ago. I could hear his breathing turn ragged. And there's more, I said. Your fabricated accounts before the IPO, your tax evasion last year, the recording of you bribing officials 3 months ago. Where did you get? You forgot. I smiled. I set all your passwords. I managed all your encrypted files. A crash echoed through the phone. Anna, you can't do this. The company is our life's work. It was my work, I corrected. You just signed the papers. What do you want? He screamed. Money? Shares? I'll give you everything. Just stop, Ethan. I said softly. The game has started. What game? The one you taught me. I spoke clearly, using capital to crush people. I hung up. Daniel walked in with coffee. The legal team is ready. Regulators have been notified. Thanks, brother. Mom would be proud, he said, ruffling my hair. Outside the window, New York's sky was painfully blue. My phone lit up again. Vivian Lynn sent a long message. Apologies, misunderstandings. Her father wanted to invite me to dinner. I deleted it without reading. Then I opened social media and registered a verified account. My first post, 10 years of youth wasted on a dog. Now it's time to beat the dog. Attached, a photo of legal documents. Defendants, Ethan Miller, Lynn Capital. 1 minute, over 10,000 shares. Anna Grant Strickbabic trended instantly. 3 months later, Morningstar Tech filed for bankruptcy restructuring. Audits revealed embezzlement, commercial bribery, tax evasion. Total amount, over 80 million. Ethan was sentenced to 12 years in prison. His mother came once, begging to see me. I refused. I sent back a message instead. Be smart. Don't make a scene. Her own words. Returned. Vivian Lynn disappeared overseas. Lynn Capital's stock price was cut in half. At the courthouse, Ethan asked to see me. He was thin. Shackles clinked against the table. Anna, for the sake of 10 years, he whispered. Leave me a way out. I looked at him. Every time I win a case for women who were scammed by men like you, I said, I remember the day you told me to be sensible. I stood. You're begging because you lost. If you'd won, I'd be the one kneeling here. I placed a card on the table. 5 million, I said. The money you gave me. Principal plus interest. We're even. He broke down crying. I didn't look back outside. The sun was bright. A reporter asked Ms. Grant, how do you feel? I answered, people once tried to buy me off, silence me, and destroy me. Now I'm returning everything using the rules they taught me. That's called karma.